For this scene in 1991 through 92, this was the time, this was the monumental war between grunge bands. Loudwire and comment sections and Reddit all love the debate between Dirt and Nevermind. What is the best grunge album? They're two different animals. Nirvana, which I believe is more tone-centric, more atmospheric. Alice in Chains is more melodic, more musicianship-oriented.
It's a totally different animal. I don't even see where the comparison comes from. To me, Alice in Chains almost sounds more like a heavy metal band influenced a little bit by grunge, whereas Nirvana is definitely grunge. Musicianship is much more of a focus here. There are a lot more solos. The two albums are like totally different sonically.
Alice in Chains is one of the great grunge bands that still today continuously puts out music. Unfortunately, with the pass of Lane Staley, a lot of people thought they wouldn't continue where they were going, but they got a new singer who sounds almost exactly like him.
Lane Staley is and always has been one of my favorite vocalists of all time. He has this really unique style of twangy country-like accent, but with the grunge and the aggressiveness of a Maynard James Keenan or a Chester Bennington, and with top-notch control.
Yeah, Lane Staley has always been on his own pedestal as well. I know I've seen people talk about how that when they saw him live, they could hear him over the actual microphone. And not to mention Jerry Cantrell's harmonies as well.
And I'm also surprised to see how dynamic the songwriting was on here. There's a ton of range, something I wasn't expecting too much of in terms of mood and overall sound. Without further bovine excrement, I'm Darius King.
I'm Metalhead.
Here is Them Bones. I've literally never heard a song that's so devoid of bullshit. This is one of the leanest songs that I've ever heard in my life. Every second from the immediate blast into the song, into the solo, and just the overall runtime demonstrates how well everything was thought out.
I definitely agree with the runtime was what really helps it. The harmonies are excellent, the crunchy, tough guitar, clean cut, start to finish.
It has the chord progression of a punk rock song, but it has so many dynamics like Lane's reverb shouting and the harmonies and the pre-chorus change-ups on guitar that just keep you locked in the entire runtime. Amazing opener and a great placement right before the Damn That River. Really nice transition between the two, given the similar styles. The only thing I'd really ask for more is a longer runtime. I'm gonna go nut button.
Whoa, explosive start. Really straps you in for the rest of the album. The Metalhead seal of approval.
In many ways, this feels like a continuation of Them Bones. On 100 the whole time, top-level energy and the blaring heavy metal sound. Like I was saying, Jerry Cantrell's guitar work here certainly does not fit in the grunge box. Insert man in a box joke here.
After a minute, 15 minute, 20 seconds, it kind of gets formulaic for me. Up until the solo, which of course Jerry always does well.
I thought it was pretty attention-grabbing all the way through, and much of what I had to say with Them Bones also applies here, and Lane is stellar as always, so this one's going on the playlist.
They're not getting pushed out of a moving car.
Standout song for the rhythm section, especially Sean Kinney keeping you engaged with his ride cymbal work while he waits for Jerry to finish setting up his wah pedal.
I think Adam Jones busted into the studio and he started fucking with Jerry Cantrell.
You really like Adam Jones. Did you know he has a signature Les Paul?
Burn it. I bet you when you play the Adam Jones Les Paul, it just makes random squealing noises, construction site sounds. You hit the E and it goes...
Getting the tone right with the wah is not an easy task since it can take away so much of the meat and the depth of your tone, but Jerry Cantrell gets it so right he can carry the whole song with it. Lane flexing the vocal control in the pre-chorus is very impressive as well, and almost punked us there with that 80s fade out. That was pretty interesting.
The song I don't think needs to be 5 minutes long. I think it goes on longer than it needs to. Of course, Lane Staley is great. As always, though.
Definitely a case to be made for 5 minutes being a little too long for this one. A little less energy than the previous two, but I do admire the change in feel, keeping the track list nice and fresh. So this one gets the Darius King seal of approval.
Middle of the road.
Continuing that change in feel, we get the most beautiful orgy between Children of the Sea and Fade to Black.
Love the change of pace. Jerry and Stanley have like the perfect harmonies as always. They always kill it. And the tone on the bass and the guitar complement so well. Again, though, I don't think it needs to be 5 minutes long. I like this one more. The arrangement's better, tone is much better, the musicianship is stellar, of course.
I thought it was interesting to see how well Lane adapts to this ballad style so well, and how well Jerry keeps up with him, too, as a vocalist. I'm a sucker for ballads, everyone knows that who's seen us before, and I'm surprised at how well this band was able to pull it off. Even Jerry was hesitant to approach them with a song like this, but I'm glad he did. To my playlist.
Metalhead seal of approval.
I guess they figured they'd make up for the last song by playing the next one left-handed.
I think Adam Jones came back again after lunch break.
I get that they're trying to deliver it from like the perspective of a drug addict, and that's an interesting concept, but why? Jerry sounds like he's covering that Weezer Kids talent show performance.
I'm stuck in the middle of the road.
Anthem alert. Anthem alert, class.
Yes.
The hazy and Pink Floydian riff to start things off is such a great building block to the explosive hook. Female vocals add a really interesting dynamic as well.
That's Lane Staley and Jerry. Yeah.
Holy shit.
I thought the same thing for the longest time.
They kick each other in the nuts before?
I love how you described the Pink Floyd, esque beginning. Tone on the guitar is perfect. Harmonies are heavenly. And Stanley's vocal performance is by far my absolute favorite on this. His inflections, his power, building in the chorus. It makes you wish that you had the ability to sing that way.
This is absolutely a career best from Lane Staley. He shows the skills like usual, but the feel he injects in the more mellow parts is undeniable, only to light it on fire a split second later. I like the added military roles from Sean Kinney too, are a nice touch to the back half to change things up a little bit, and an incredibly smooth outro. It's one of the most well-rounded songs in the album, and it makes it easy to see why it's such a smash hit, so this one is going on my playlist as well.
This one gets an up button.
Up to this point, I really felt, even though there were a couple songs that were a little bit long, it was an incredibly strong first half with standout performances and excellent songwriting for the exception of Sickman. Unfortunately, Junkhead, I think, is where we start to see a steady decline in quality. Compared to Sickman, it has more of a structure, but it sounds like they emptied out the liquor cabinet before heading into the studio.
Which is probably very accurate. Yeah, middle of the road.
I do enjoy the hook from Lane and company. They do immediately return to their stupor for each verse, though. Lane's yas and other shoutings don't really sound as balanced or controlled as they did on subsequent tracks. Even if it were intentional given the subject, still kind of clashes with the better delivery on the chorus. Not my favorite, but it definitely has its moments, so I wouldn't push you out of the car. I like the approach of the sluggish, slower tempo, and the feel of the guitar reminds me of something early Sabbath would do. Jerry's solo is one of the better ones, I think, on this whole album.
I love the tone. Jesus, sorry, my throat is... I love the tone and the wah effect on Jerry's guitar. A lot of the song makes me feel like I drift out and then I get pulled back into the song.
Yeah, well, I do really like the vibe of this whole song. I feel like for the runtime, they could have used a couple change-ups in the melody, just expanded on the idea a little more. There are parts where it feels like it's a little longer than it needs to be. I still think it's pretty well structured, though. The Darius King seal of approval.
From the title track, I expect a little more, but I'm not pushing you out of any moving cars. Yeah, Godsmack. My dad loves that band. For this song, why?
Speaking of Sabbath, nothing too wrong with Hate to Feel, but I feel like this is now the third song that we've heard this like drowsy descending riff from Jerry. Also, I'm gonna go middle of the road on this one. Yeah, really cool hazy delay effect on the vocals, assisted even more by the haunting lyrics. Much needed return to form with the hazy rhythm guitar over the haunting main melody.
Got a really unique intro, excellent tone on the bass, roaring guitar chords.
I still think it's more dynamic of a song than any of these other B-sides as it rotates between the hazy feel from the beginning and the more driving sound of the hook. So I'd personally give it seal of approval.
Not push you out of a moving car.
Really interesting turn here. It's a track that I think distinguishes itself, most certainly not in the subject matter, but in the extra reverb on the vocals, and just the overall production sounds like it's almost from a different album. This thing is caked in so much reverb. If you told me it was a live performance, I'd probably believe you, which I actually did really enjoy. Such a driving rhythm on the drums and bass here create the whole song, but especially highlighted during Jerry's verses. The only thing I'd say is the massive amount of reverb takes a little bit of punch away from the otherwise very explosive hooks, but still, what a closer. This one's going on the playlist.
This one already was and continues to be on my playlist.
Overall, even though I felt the second half tailed off in quality at moments, the highlights on here are still good enough to put this record among, I feel, the best of the 90s. From the first seconds, they drill your skull in with the relentless Them Bones and don't let up on Damn That River either. And I was surprised to hear the success they had with ballads like Down in a Hole.
The hits like Rooster and Wood and Them Bones show the skill and masterful work that Alice in Chains is capable of. But the filler is just oozing at the seams on this album. The songs drag on longer than they need to be, but the production, the mix, very well done. It's a good structured album. Where it shines bright, and where it falls off, it's very dull.
Of course, there's certainly some lowlights on here, like the utterly obnoxious Godsmack and Sickman, but they are pretty few and far between. I didn't think it was as formulaic as you were saying, but yeah, definitely those couple songs were not my personal flavor. It's a shame we didn't get more output from the band during this era of it, as the combo of Lane as one of the best to ever do it, and Jerry as an excellent top shelf songwriter was truly a special combo. So I give this one the Darius King seal of approval.
Not pushing you to moving car.